Hey guys, welcome to Immediate Review. If you're new here, we normally do movie reviews immediately after watching the movie to give you our unfiltered, undigested thoughts. Today, I'm doing something a little bit different. As I'm a gamer at heart, I've been with you guys on the 8-year wait for Cyberpunk 2077, and obviously things are a little crazy. Corporate greed, the stability on last-gen consoles, huge balancing issues, bugs, patches. People are understandably mad.
What the hell? Seriously?
No matter how far you think you are in front of the other racers, you're not, because they always just teleport so that they keep up with you. And it's incredibly easy to win these races.
Seriously?
Now, I played Cyberpunk, I beat it. I have my own opinions about the game on all of the topics that you've probably heard about. And while the main issue that I have with the game I don't think is necessarily very important, nobody else is talking about it right now. And until this is changed, I don't think that Cyberpunk will ever live up to the levels that The Witcher 3 does, for me at least.
Hi, I'm Sky. And you must be Vincent?
As a filmmaker, and someone who's around cameras a lot, I really liked the bold direction Cyberpunk went with the first-person view as a constant frame we are always looking through. It ties well into the story of Johnny Silverhand, putting us into his perspective as a person stuck in a body that isn't ours. This gives the player the ability to create the frame we are watching at every given point during the game. Every conversation is locked into V's viewpoint, and as a filmmaker, it is very cool to try to find the coolest looking frame in a specific conversation. To track and follow characters as they move and talk around you is very unique. It isn't like Oblivion or Fallout, which I don't hate, but can be a little jarring at times.
What do you want? Stand back, civilian.
It does a good job of keeping the conversation the center focus without any janky camera effects that go zoom in or anything like that to take you out of the first-person player perspective. I think the big problems with it comes when you want to take your hands away from the keyboard and actually enjoy the excellent voice acting. Take your hand away from the mouse and now you have no frame control. Characters will just walk out of your frame and keep talking to you. While this does give the player freedom, the actual implications of V not following along in the conversation get a little weird. It implies that V is just sitting and staring into nothing while being talked to, and if you don't respond quick enough, they actually have lines to get you to pay attention, which to me just adds to the roleplay aspect that V just goes blank sometimes and stops looking around or talking with the person he's with. The funny thing is, V's brain is dying in the game, so it kind of makes sense that he would be slipping in and out of his own reality and spacing off. So while it doesn't lose a ton of points for that for me, it's still weird. Okay, now I want you to compare all of that information with just an average conversation from The Witcher 3. I think you'll understand what I mean.
Now we wait for them to scurry away.
Interesting method. Never had much luck with rats. Once I hit one with a fork in complete darkness, trying to show off my Witcher's senses. Masterful throw, really. Problem was, no one else saw it. How could they in the dark?
So, what do you think? Rat catcher? It's a long way to fall from being advisor to Temeria's king.
I'm just glad to see you safe and sound, and...
Reconciled?
Knew a man once who reacted to everything, especially adversity, by mocking it.
Healthy attitude. Must have lived long.
Came a day he lost both his legs in battle. He shrugged, said it was better that way. He'd never feel pain in them again.
I understand him perfectly.
I know. Thing is, he was lying to himself.
I think he just didn't have much of a choice.
We all lie sometimes, but lying to yourself is running away, whereas there's really nowhere to run.
Sometimes you have to escape just to forget. Your friend might have dwelled on his lost legs, but it's not like by grieving he could have grown another pair. So, tell me how Yen's doing?
How do you know I found her?
You didn't answer my question. How's Yen?
Don't know yet. Asking about anything specific?
Never mind. I got my answer.
So, what was different? Well, for one, The Witcher 3 has cinematic camera angles that are constantly changing throughout every conversation in the game. Imagine any movie you've ever seen. Conversations are rarely done completely in a first-person perspective. The camera is always showing different angles, reactions, and perspectives to help build the scene in your mind. This creates a very cinematic experience and helps the conversations flow and not seem so bulky with dialogue, even if it is actually very dialogue heavy. The next thing is the soundtrack. While I love Cyberpunk's soundtrack, the cutscenes and conversations just do not compare with the mystical nature of the Witcher 3 soundtrack. And again, a good soundtrack in the right place can really help cut down on the bulky feelings some conversations can have in video games.
I keep seeing that too much dialogue. I mean, everyone jerks off about The Witcher 3. That entire game was fucking dialogue. And Red Dead 2, that was all dialogue. Everyone parrots the same fucking opinions depending on whatever the most popular is, and right now it's to criticize every nook and cranny of the game. Like, so far it's not great. Like, it's a pretty slow start, but it's not bad. And too much dialogue is a dumb fucking complaint when everyone on Reddit and Twitter, the same people complaining about dialogue here, worship Witcher 3, Red Dead 2, and all that shit. I don't get it. Just make your own opinions and stop parroting what you think is the popular one.
So, does Cyberpunk really have more dialogue than The Witcher 3? I honestly find that hard to believe, but I think the cinematic nature of how the conversations are displayed is much better in The Witcher 3. And honestly, I don't know if that's something that can be easily changed in the patches and DLC that they have planned to release over the next year. I'm no game programmer, so I don't have the perspective of that side of things, but one thing that really gives me hope for this thing to actually happen is the modding community. I know I've seen mods for car customization come into the game, which is super cool. That's something I wanted when this was originally announced. And to be completely fair, I don't think that this is even really a huge priority, but I personally would love to see something like this put into the game. The cinematic styles in The Witcher 3 are done incredibly well, and I would just really love to see that done here in Cyberpunk so you can really appreciate the motion capture that they did and, you know, actually get to see your character. Why have all the character customization options if you aren't even going to get to see what your character looks like at any given moment? But yeah, that's my take on things. Until something like that comes into the game, Cyberpunk just will not be able to reach the level of quality that The Witcher 3 has for me. I'm still rooting for CD Projekt Red to rise out of this fire that they've kind of started for themselves and figure everything out, and hopefully, eventually, make this product the, product we all expected it to be originally. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.